guys, it's time for chapter 3 of Joey. When we left off, they had put together Hope Reigns, and it was getting started, and we were just kind of learning a lot about that. So I'm going to get started right away so we can find out what's happening in Joey. I have some of my dogs here with me tonight. This is Oso, and this is Annie, and she just got her hair cut at home by me yesterday. Okay, here we go. Chapter 3. As Kim slowly maneuvered the SUV to the pasture where a team of volunteers waited to help unload Speckles and Joey, she couldn't help but notice the tractor. Out of service again. The rust-covered machine used to haul hay, heavy equipment, and manure always seemed to be breaking down for one reason or another. Parts of the fence needed mending between the parking lot and the front pastures too. Though the church's generous offer made it possible for Kim to pay for the land out of the ministry's spare change, there never seemed to be a shortage of expenses, repairs, hay, grain, supplements, insurance premiums, mulch, monthly farrier fees, and countless vet bills. After all, rescued horses were not the healthiest horses. God provided the land. Kim continually reminded herself. He will provide the rest. My foot has to move. Sorry, y'all. Okay. God will provide. He had become something of a mantra for Kim the past year and a half. She determined to say it until she started believing it, especially given the fact that things were starting to get a little tense at home. Mike kept running the numbers and was growing more and more concerned about the ranch's finances. When he would bring it up, Kim's answer was always the same: God will provide. Although recently it was sounding more like a question than a statement. God had also provided volunteers, horses, children, and several generous donations that had kept them going this long. However, though she didn't publicize it, the ranch was almost bankrupt. And while the board had suggested charging a minimal fee for sessions, Kim just couldn't. She had felt so strong a call from God to keep the sessions free that she was determined to do so. However, she did agree to place the donation bucket out during sessions for those who wanted to contribute something. Yes, they had enough money to last the next 3 months, but after that, well, Kim couldn't think about that right now. Trust and worry. Worry and trust. It was a never-ending cycle wished she could break. Pulling up to the gate, she forced herself to slow her breathing and relax her shoulders. Yes, God will provide, she murmured quietly. But first things first. It was time to introduce Speckles and Joey to their new home. Kim and Barb were more than happy to get out of the SUV and stretch after the long drive. 4 volunteers who had all been briefed on both horses' histories, including Joey's unique challenges, anxiously awaited the new residents. Did they give you any trouble, Kim? Carla asked. Define trouble, Kim said, winking at Barb. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh, nothing. We wouldn't be able to handle, Kim responded. One of them just a little bit temperamental, but I'm sure he'll be fine once he gets settled in. Kim turned her attention to the rest of the group. Thank you all for coming out this afternoon to help welcome our new angels and horsehair. She loved using that description for the Hope Reigns horses. I can't tell you how much we appreciate each and every one of you. Kim's gaze landed on Lauren Matea, a feeding team volunteer who always started to develop an interest in horse training. The woman seemed to have a sweet and fun-loving spirit, though at times she also came across as somewhat guarded. I'll invite her out for coffee sometime so we can get to know each other. Also in attendance were Joanne, a fun-loving grandmother and the mother hen of the Hope Reigns team, Carla, a thin athletic woman with grown children, and PJ, a spunky brunette whose teenage sons kept her so busy that the ranch was her quiet haven when she could escape. Kim unlocked the trailer door for the big reveal. Joey's and Speckles' backsides. A chorus of oohs and ahs erupted from the group. Kim laughed at the response. If you guys think they look good from this angle, wait until you see them from the front. With the ramp down, Kim easily backed Joey out of the side-by-side trailer, and Barb walked him several feet away to a patch of grass in front of the small red building that served as the Hope Reigns office. Joanne and Carla immediately began stroking and patting the newest Hope Reigns residents. Joey happily grazed, periodically raising his head to take in the sense of his admirers and surroundings. Speckles was a different story. As soon as Kim approached him with a lead line, an ear-splitting whinny exploded from the trailer. You're okay, boy, she said softly. This is your new home. Kim's gentle voice did nothing to calm the stomping, nostril-flaring horse. He was agitated and fearful. Come on, Speckles, she urged. You can do this. We just want you to get out of the trailer. It's just a couple of steps back. The horse tossed his head and snapped his teeth. He didn't bite her or really even come close to her skin, but the unexpected action made her jerk backwards. Speckles eyed her warily. It took a moment for her to catch her breath. He was so calm at the foster farm when I visited, Kim thought. Maybe he's just releasing pent-up stress. Need some help? Lauren asked, poking her head into the trailer. Maybe. Yes was the truth. Kim did not want help, but she didn't want to put any of her volunteers in harm's way. He's really not happy at the moment. Lauren stepped cautiously into the empty side of the trailer, moving with a slight limp towards Speckles. Hey, Speckles, she said, bravely holding her hand on her horse's nose to say hello. I wouldn't, Kim started to caution the volunteer, but before she could finish, the horse reacted. He lowered his dark brown head curiously, his ears flicked forward. Then he stored it under Lauren's hand. He threw his head up and away from both women and startled them with a loud whinny. Well, Lauren offered, I don't know much about horse training, but is it possible he's just a bit overwhelmed? Maybe a snack would help move him along. Can't hurt, Kim said, willing to try anything. Stay here and I'll grab a carrot. Kim was glad for the break. It had been an exhausting day, and they still had to get the horses situated. That is, if they could get the cantankerous one off the trailer. Needing a moment to collect herself, Kim went the long way across the parking lot, past Joey, and around the stone fire pit in the center of the common area. When Kim got to the feed shed, she tugged hard on the door, leaving it open for light and to filter in. There was no electricity on the ranch aside from the small generator used in the summer to provide a window air conditioning unit in their makeshift office. In the winter, to power a single light bulb in the feed shed, and a year-round to power the low-voltage electric fencing, but they had to make do. In fact, operating on such a shoestring budget meant there were few amenities on the ranch. For one thing, the only bathroom was the least porta potty. No one complained, but Kim felt compelled to remind everyone, including herself, to be grateful for everything they did have. Still, her pep talks were getting harder and harder to give, especially in the cold of winter. It took a minute for Kim's eyes to adjust to the dimness of the shed. The air was thick, and the smell of the sweet hay mixed with a musty odor. Kim found the bag of carrots where she had tucked them a few days earlier, her private stash of treats to spoil the horses. With carrots in hand, Kim walked slowly back to Lauren, passing the ranch's two miniature horse residents, Hope and Josie. The small mares, Hope a rich mahogany color and Josie with an almond-hued coat, had been donated by a loving owner who could no longer care for them. They had become instant favorites among the children. The commotion in the trailer had certainly gotten the miniature horse's attention, too. Speckles was still stomping his displeasure from his stall inside the trailer. Lauren was talking to him while leaning as far away from him as possible by the 10-foot by 6-foot area. Mission accomplished, Kim called out, not wanting to surprise either of them. Let's see if hunger will override his fear. Lauren exited the trailer as Kim entered. She waved the carrot under Speckles' nose. His ears perked up and his lips greedily parted. Kim broke off the little chunk and fed it to him flat-handed. When Kim placed another chunk in her hand, she backed up a few steps just out of the horse's reach. Enticed by the carrot, Speckles cautiously took 2 steps back. Kim fed him another carrot chunk and then slipped on the lead line. Back, she commanded, unconvinced the horse would obey, yet pleasantly surprised he did. Just a few more steps. The moment Speckles was freed from the confines of the trailer, he began to calm down. Kim gave him a well-deserved back scratch. Here you go, boy, Kim said, watching him gobble down the last of the carrot. That's much better, isn't it? Lauren tentatively approached the pair. Kim monitored her closer. Thanks for the snack suggestion, she said, offering Speckles' lead line to Lauren. It clearly worked. After a brief hesitation, followed by a hint of a smile, Lauren accepted the line and joined Kim in scratching the horse's side. Speckles accepted her touch, then began moving toward Joey. 2 more curious onlookers raised their heads in a nearby field, a white pony named Shiloh and a chestnut mare named Essie. Joey's ears flew forward, and he took 2 steps back as Speckles approached. The 2 Appaloosas looked like twins from the back, differentiated only by the color of their spots. Joey's were black and Speckles were brown. Kim, Lauren, and the group of volunteers held their collective breath as the 2 horses greeted one another. Joey is your friend from the trailer, Speckles. You've both traveled a long way to get here. In her mind, Kim willed everything to go smoothly, knowing that oftentimes introductions between horses can lead to rearing, kicking, or even biting. Given Speckles' earlier reaction, Kim was concerned for Joey. Barb, be ready to move Joey back if necessary, Kim instructed, grateful for her friend's natural giftedness with horses. Then the rest of the team, she added, let's just give the horses a minute to adjust and see how it goes. Please, God, let this go smoothly, she silently prayed. Lauren held Speckles' line loosely. As Kim turned to take the line from her, the horse lunged at Joey, teeth bared. Lauren held fast to her line, her eyes wide and fixed on Speckles. Joey and Barb didn't move as Speckles reared up. Lauren instinctively tightened her grip, trying to keep the line from being jerked out of her hand. Joey's head shot up, but he still didn't move. Speckles wasn't done. Letting out a long whinny to proclaim his dominance, Joey took a step back, answering with a whinny of his own. Satisfied with Joey's seeming submission, Speckles abruptly ended the greeting and started to pick at the grass. Everyone was relieved. After letting the horses spend a few minutes peacefully grazing, Kim looked at Lauren and Barb. All right, guys, let's get these boys into paddock 2. Paddock 2, a large rectangular-shaped field, was adjacent to Shiloh and Essie's pasture. It stretched from the edge of the common area to where the parallel Highway 50. Each of 4 fields in the ranch was cordoned with flexible slat fencing topped by electrified wire. Within the paddock, there was 3-side wood run-in shelter, a deep black rubber water trough, and a wooden feed box. Several trees, oaks, sweet gum, and maple, stood at attention toward the back of the field, providing a canopy of shade in the summer. Kim opened the gate, motioning Lauren to lead Speckles in first. Barb followed with Joey. Once everyone was inside, Lauren and Speckles headed left to the feed box, while Barb and Joey lingered along in the front perimeter by the water trough. After a few minutes, the two volunteers removed their prospective horse halters, giving the newest angels the run of their new home. Will they be okay? Lauren asked Kim as they watched the two horses silently graze. They'll be just fine, she said. But truthfully, she had no idea. Lord, please let them be okay, she silently pleaded. Suddenly, wishing they were able to afford an overnight caretaker, she would sleep so much better knowing someone was watching over Joey to make sure he didn't fall or trip or get attacked by Speckles. Normally, she would not put two horses together right away, but they seemed to be getting along relatively well, and Tom had said it was important for Joey to have a companion. The sun was dipping below the tree line when Kim walked the volunteers back to the parking lot, thanking them for being there to help with the unloading. As the small welcome committee dispersed, Barb hugged Kim, saying they should both go home, take a long hot shower, and get a good night's rest. I will, Kim assured her. I just want to check on Joey one more time. Kim slowly made her way back to the paddock, too, taking in the peaceful atmosphere of the ranch. Horses lingered over hay boxes, others grazed on winter grass. As the wind picked up, Kim pulled her hat down lower. They definitely had a cold bite to it. A hot shower suddenly sounded like heaven, but first she needed to make sure Joey was okay. Kim stood outside the fence. Speckles was near the hay box, his ears moving like a sonar device, his eyes wide and searching. Well, he sure seems to have calmed down, Kim mused. Then she turned to watch Joey. He was still by the water trough. Has he moved at all since I left him 30 minutes ago? Then it hit her again. Suddenly, she saw the ranch with fresh eyes. Joey's eyes. Eyes that couldn't see. How was this going to work? How was he going to find his way to the haybox, to the shelter? What was I thinking? Everyone trusted her to make this decision wise. They believed this would all work out because she said it would. But now, staring at a horse who couldn't see her, she suddenly felt overwhelmed. Trust and worry and trust. Kim closed her eyes in her mind. She could still see the pasture and feed box, the water trough, the woods, the fence, all the things Joey couldn't see. Kim opened her eyes. She would have to show him. Don't worry, Joey, Kim called out. I'll be right back. The ranch was quickly becoming cloaked in the darkness of twilight, so she didn't have a lot of time. Kim ran to the tack shed and grabbed Joey's halter to lead him. I have to help him get his bearings. Here you go, boys, she said. We're going to go for a little walk. Tugging gently, Kim led Joey away from the water trough and toward the gate. That's the gate, she explained. That's where you will come in and out. She then turned left to the gate and walked the fence line with Joey toward the back of the field. She knew it was silly. Joey couldn't see or understand what she was saying, but it didn't matter. She needed to do something. She needed to try to help him see. Over there on the other side of the fence are Shiloh and Essie, she said, pointing toward the curious equines watching from their pasture. They will be nice neighbors. When they reached the back of the field, Joey's ears flickered in the direction of the highway. Those are just cars, Kim reassured him. They're noisy, but they won't hurt you. As long as you stay inside the fence, you'll be fine. Kim suddenly wondered if Joey had ever been close to a busy road before. Would the nearby traffic frighten him? He seemed okay. Maybe you should keep a safe different distance from the fence for now, Kim cautioned. Then she began counting the steps from the back of the field towards the oak tree to the center of the paddock. 50. 50 steps to the tree, Joey, she said. Then she headed back to the water trough. 100 steps to the water trough. Off in the distance, a horse whinnied. It was Spirit, a gorgeous buckskin gelding with an ebony mane and tail. Oh, that Spirit over there, she explained. He's a good horse, although sometimes he can be a little grumpy. But he'll be a good neighbor, too. Was any of this helping? She wasn't convinced that it was, but frankly, she didn't know what else to do. And so she continued to give Joey the grand tour of Paddock 2, stopping every couple of yards for him to pull up the grass. Speckles, keeping a close eye on the pair, had wandered over to the other side of the paddock to introduce himself to Shiloh and Essie over the fence. Kim couldn't shake the fear that Joey wasn't going to be able to adjust. She chastised herself. I don't know how I could take care of a blind horse. All the phone calls in the world with Tom, all the online articles, and vet conversations couldn't have prepared her for the moment. Standing face to face with a blind horse she was now responsible for. In many ways, she was as blind as Joey. As she unfastened his halter, she prayed out loud, Lord, I truly believed that you wanted Joey here, but now it all feels too hard, too frightening, Lord. You're going to have to see us all through this. Joey's nose touched her shoulder. Kim reached up and stroked the velvety spotted muzzle. Please, God, take care of Joey. Please keep him safe. She paused for a moment, waiting for a flood of peace to overtake her, or for some kind of sign or reassurance to appear from above. But the only thing that pierced the silence was Speckles whinnying in the distance. Worry and trust, she thought. You've done plenty of worrying. Now it's time to trust. Kim gave Joey's nose one more stroke. You've had a long day, Joey, she said. Get some sleep, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good night, Speckles, she called out to the other Appaloosa, still standing at Shiloh and Essie's fence. Look after Joey tonight, okay? Kim lingered at the gate for a few minutes more, watching as Joey and Speckles were enveloped in the darkness. Another gust of wind made her pull her collar tighter around her neck as she turned and headed back toward the parking lot. And that is the end of chapter 3. So maybe tomorrow or the next day we will do chapter 4. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I hope that your day was wonderful. Today's Thursday. I hope you had a thankful Thursday. Here's my really cool origami that I used for my bookmark that my daughter Hayden made. But I hope you guys are doing well in quarantine. I miss you. You're wonderful. You're worthy. I think about you all the time. Let me know how you're doing. Have a great night. Sweet dreams.